Can Malotru maintain yet another cover?
Will Marina's mission in Iran be a success?
And where can I buy a tie like Henri's?
After 10 episodes, things have never been more uncertain for the legends and their handlers at the Bureau.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Weaver.
And I'm Brooke Lyons. Now, the discussion.
We know you're dying to jump into season 2, but first let's look back at everything you loved and some things you might have missed from season 1 of the Bureau.
The heart of the Bureau is Guillaume de Bailly, an agent for the DGSE, France's equivalent to the CIA.
He's also known by his legend code name, Malotru, and his most recent mission was recruiting sources for the French in Syria. He's tying up loose ends after 6 years in Damascus, one of those being Nadia El Mansour, a woman with whom he had a relationship while undercover.
Only thing is, what's happening in the flashback isn't exactly how it went down according to the debrief he's giving his handler, Marie-Jeanne. He's lying, we know it, but we don't know why. One might call it a Malotru special.
Returning to Paris, he tries to readjust to his real life, but Nadia remains on his mind.
كان بلا مستقبل بس رحن لهالأيام لآخر عمري.
Meanwhile, in Algeria, a man is arrested for drunk driving. But this is no ordinary man. He's one of only 9 legends working for the Bureau. Just like Malotru, he has access to the agency's most confidential operations. Codename, Cyclone.
And the fact that Cyclone is drunk is of particular concern since he's a devout Muslim who never drinks. He tells us in an early training session, in other words, Cyclone's cover could be blown.
Raymond, Cyclone's official handler, has been tracking his position since the arrest, and that dot just ain't moving. They dispatch another agent into the police station where he's being held to learn more.
Tu sors, tu me dis que Cyclone va bien. Très bien, merci.
Présente Guillaume de Bailly que vous connaissez.
Everyone in the Bureau greets Malotru for his first day back. But those celebrations are cut short when he learns of a bombing at the university in Syria where Nadia works.
Malotru is thrown right back into action, not only helping with Cyclone's disappearance, but also training a new legend to be Marina Loiseau.
Vous n'êtes pas agent, vous êtes clandestin.
Marina's eventual mission is to infiltrate Iran's nuclear development program.
Back at the Bureau, they learn that Cyclone has somehow disappeared from the police station. In the crisis room, led by Director Henri, a breakdown of the potential scenarios is presented.
Cyclone a été arrêté, Cyclone a été enlevé, Cyclone a organisé sa propre disparition.
Amidst all of this, Nadia is still on Malotru's mind, especially because of the bombing. He learns that she is safe, and it just so happens is currently in Paris. He decides to go against Bureau protocol and meet Nadia under the cover of his Syrian alias, Paul Lefebvre.
Non, Marwan m'attend dans la voiture.
To her, he is just a humble teacher, but to us, he's a French spy. They kiss, fireworks. Nadia makes this kind of unusual face. Hotel room, ...
The Malotru special.
If he had just stayed home, maybe we could have avoided all this messy drama and intrigue to come.
But he didn't.
So we can't.
And thank goodness, because it's about to get so damn good.
The next day, Malotru burns his hotel bill and returns to the Bureau, balancing both identities like a boss.
Bonjour, docteur.
Enter Dr. Baum, also a boss.
De Bailly, qui est notre nouveau directeur adjoint.
She's been hired by Henri, who was determined that everyone in the DGSE could use some full-time therapy.
Cyclone, on va tous très mal.
And as Henri officially makes Malotru his new assistant director, Baum warns that Malotru may still be attached to his Syrian cover.
Vous savez l'impression qu'il me donne l'impression d'être toujours en mission.
Yeah, he totally is.
Today is also the day Marina begins her mission. Her handler is tough as nails, Marie-Jeanne.
Bonjour.
Marie was Malotru's handler in Syria, and she makes Liam Neeson in Taken seem like a pussycat.
Since you don't really waltz into the Iran nuclear program off LinkedIn, she needs to find a way into the Institute of Earth Physics and become close with one specific Iranian engineer. She'll need to convince him to bring her to Iran so she can secretly recruit nuclear sources. Makes your job sound a lot easier, huh?
Back at the Bureau, everyone is on edge over Cyclone's disappearance. Baum meets with Malotru and confirms her concerns. Something about him is off. She can tell that he's struggling to reacclimate to real life. She's especially curious about one relationship from Syria in particular.
Madame Nadia Mansour.
Voilà.
All this introspection is not Malotru's happy place, so to speak. Bomb has gotten into his head, so he scopes out Nadia's conference.
Oui, elle est bien inscrite.
Bad news, she hasn't attended a single session.
Elle n'est jamais venue à mes conférences. Enfin, si, elle est venue le premier jour.
And in that very moment, we fast forward to an interrogation where Malotru is fitted to a lie detector and realizes he's stepped in it. But who is he talking to?
Malotru is growing more suspect of Nadia's presence in Paris, and as it turns out, those suspicions are legit. Nadia is part of a top-secret meeting between a Syrian businessman and Russian officials.
C'est un territoire hostile.
Marina has officially been hired to work at the Institute with her target, Reza Mortazavi. But it won't be easy to gain his trust.
Vous devez l'attirer dans vos filets.
Nadia's business associate, Hashem, comes to her hotel room for a drink and warns her about her presence in Paris. He tells their security handler, Nadim, to follow her and make sure she's not double-crossing them.
Back at the Institute, Reza has developed a fondness for Marina. Marie-Jean warns
Et
her.
aussi parce que si vous commencez quelque chose avec lui maintenant, il vous emmènera jamais en Iran.
Later, during a rainy car ride, Reza makes his move,
Donc on pourrait se voir en dehors de l'Institut, tous les deux.
and Marina shuts him down, telling him,
Vous ressemblez à mon père.
ouch. The next day, Reza apologizes.
Merci, Marina.
Nadim has begun investigating Malotru, suspecting he's more than just a French teacher.
Baum continues to analyze him, comparing his double life to the thrill of having an affair.
Juste à comprendre.
Vous cherchez à démontrer quelque chose.
Yeah, and she just did, because despite the growing risk, Malotru goes to meet Nadia for dinner. And surprise, surprise, look who joins him as an unexpected guest. Nadim.
حلو كتير لما الفرنسيين بيهتموا ببلدنا.
Which makes Malotru even more suspect of why she is in Paris. She tells him,
Ce qu'on fait devient public, on peut tous être tués.
Malotru realizes that the meeting she's attending in Paris has nothing to do with him. It's just a very, very, very bad coincidence. And worse, if her bosses uncover his role at the Bureau, conversely, it could be the thing that endangers her.
speaking of the Bureau, they're getting closer to Cyclone. An Algerian official secretly shares information about how he could potentially be returned to France. Since this exchange is kind of like, you didn't hear this from me, they use code to symbolize Cyclone as a scooter for sale.
Malotru has cut ties with Nadia to protect her, and he also starts to dial up his presence in France as Paul to stay one step ahead of Nadim. He even goes so far as to let Nadim's cohort kick the crap out of him, because even though Malotru could have fought back, Paul wouldn't.
Problem is, Malotru's code is stolen in the assault, and inside the pocket is his daughter Prune's student ID. One step forward, one deeper into shit.
Marina is feeling good about her relationship with Reza, so Marie-Jean decides to mix it up by abducting her as a test.
Je comprends pas du coup là pourquoi je suis là.
Turns out, Marina maintains her cover and flirts with the guy who interrogated her.
Vous êtes résistante.
Je le sais pas.
Most fascinating meet cute in the history of TV? We agree.
Back at the Bureau, the official with intel on Cyclone, codename Pigalle, makes contact with Malotru.
A photo of a scooter is used to represent Cyclone, and they come to find out that scooter's safe return is going to come at a price. An online auction has begun, and the price is going up faster than the Beyoncé autographed copy of Lemonade.
They refuse to partake in the auction and instead begin trying to identify Pigalle directly.
Identifiez-moi ce salopard. Vite. D'accord.
He's still keeping his distance from Nadia, but the shit is really about to hit the fan. The Russians are suddenly interested in Paul Lefebvre, too.
At the same moment Malotru realizes that he and Dr. Baum are being followed by the Russians, Prune calls to tell him that she's being followed by Nadim. He insists that they split up and meet back at the office. All this behavior is the last straw for Dr. Baum, who tells Henri that she's certain Malotru has a post-mission disorder.
As the Bureau zeroes in on Pigalle's identity, Malotru decides that the time has come. He has to tell the Bureau about his connection to Nadia and that he's been using his Syrian alias in France.
Tous les matins, elle participe aux discussions.
We're more than halfway through season 1, and look at how much damage Malotru was able to do because of one night at a fancy Parisian hotel.
Been there. Nadia still doesn't know who he is, but it doesn't matter. If the Syrians find out she's been talking to a French spy, it'll be seen as treason.
Let's get back to it. Knowing that Nadia is in danger entirely because of him, Malotru divulges most of the truth to Baum and Marie-Jeanne.
The only way to save Nadia is to use their relationship to guarantee her asylum before Nadim and the Russians learn his true identity.
Rose de vous, elle vous l'a dit?
Non, mais ces choses-là se sentent.
Flashing forward again to the interrogation, Malotru has his moment of clarity.
Mais moi, je n'étais pas confus. Je savais qui j'étais. Je savais que j'étais Paul Lefebvre.
Malotru's cover has officially become his reality. But we barely have a moment to take that in when this happens.
Cacher la vérité avec la vérité.
Baum is part of the interrogation. I'm gonna need a moment.
Well, let's not forget Marina. Still hard at work, she uses her scary new boyfriend to threaten the lead contender for the Iran assignment. It works, and he turns it down. But then Reza tries to recruit Fanny, one of Marina's closest friends within the Institute.
Fanny, tu peux rester, s'il te plaît.
Marie-Jeanne steps in to get this handled. They go to visit Fanny's mother to tell her.
Eh bien, Madame Meyer, il se trouve qu'après avoir recueilli plusieurs témoignages concordants, nous sommes au regret de devoir vous annoncer que votre époux vous est infidèle depuis plusieurs années. 25 ans, pour être précise.
That should probably do it. Marie-Jeanne's message is clear. Friends are friends, and targets are targets.
Vous attachez à personne. Jamais.
A meeting is arranged to exchange intel on Cyclone. The Bureau learns that he's being held by a brutal Algerian general named Lefkir.
Lefkir's got a mole on the inside of an ISIS group, and handing Cyclone over will give him credibility within that group.
Après, il sera exécuté.
The time has come for Malotru to finally confess everything to Nadia, so the Bureau can try to save her, but in the end...
Moi, je serai pas une traître.
Nadia.
Nadia's not taking the news of Malotru's real identity very well, and she collapses in front of the Russians. She confesses to Nadim what she knows, and he promises her he'll take care of it.
Marina is one step closer to being chosen to go to Iran, but must first pass a test staged by the Iranians. A woman pretending to be Reza's wife tests her cover story, and she succeeds. She's been selected. We all breathe a sigh of relief, but then also realize next stop is still Iran.
Merci. Nadia is relieved of her position and is set to return to Syria. Malotru tries to convince her to stay, but she refuses again.
Things are no better for Cyclone. Lefkir hands him over to the jihadists. The news of Cyclone's capture goes public, and the Bureau is left with little help from the Algerians to get him back.
Back in the interrogation, Malotru is surrounded by people who have listened to his story and seen that he's passed the lie detector test. But it's still so unbelievable, they're close to turning him into the Bureau for treason.
I was trapped.
That's what every traitor says.
I know.
But finally, some good news. The Bureau has uncovered the identity of Lefkir's mole and how to contact him. They instruct him to find a way to get Cyclone to a specific drop spot.
Back in Paris, Malotru receives some bad news from Nadim. Nadia is being held captive. Nadim will hand over Nadia as long as Malotru gives him a list of his sources from his time in Damascus. Malotru refuses and seals her fate.
Which brings us to the season 1 finale.
I didn't know where to stand with Malotru. It's a catch-22 no matter how you look at it. You can't help but feel for Nadia.
Is there any way that he can still save her? We are about to find out and learn who's behind the interrogation.
Raymond is watching the tracking bug they have on Lefkir's mole. They're not sure if they can trust him to get to the drop spot or if Cyclone is even with him, but it's their last shot.
Comment il va faire, vous pensez?
Je sais pas.
Malotru tries once again to get Mag to help with the Nadia situation, to no avail. He has nowhere else to turn. Or does he?
To make matters worse, as is often the case for our friends at the Bureau, now Marina has gone missing. She was removed during her connecting flight in Georgia, current whereabouts unknown.
With no hope left to help Nadia through the Bureau, Malotru throws a Hail Mary. The CIA. He makes an offer to trade intel with them. Turns out this entire time, that's who's been interrogating him with the help of Dr. Baum. So yes, let's be clear here. Dr. Baum works for the CIA.
Back at the Bureau, Raymond sees that Lefkir's mole and the sect are finally on the move toward the drop spot.
Yes. After a failed escape attempt, Marina convinces a housekeeper to let her use the phone in exchange for her underwear.
J'ai compris. Tu veux ma culotte?
Huh.
Sérieuse? Vas-y, prends.
She maintains her cover and reaches Reza in Iran, who promises to help. She's passed the first Iranian test of her loyalty on her own.
Malotru has passed all of the CIA's tests as well, confirming what he wants.
You want us to free Miss Nadia El Mansour. And in exchange, you will make contact with Nadim El Bakir in order to establish connections between us and the Syrians.
Cassidy, the lead CIA agent, confirms that this is essentially Malotru defecting to the West and betraying his country.
It all comes down to the woman who's been testing him this entire time, Dr. Baum.
Vous avez besoin de la duplicité, vous avez besoin d'être une façade.
She still doesn't trust him.
C'est ça que vous êtes dangereux.
He's betrayed the Bureau, Nadia, and his family.
Je suis désolée.
Vous travaillez pour eux depuis combien de temps?
The CIA leaves it up to her to decide Malotru's fate. Prison or life as a traitor.
Depuis le début.
Marie-Jeanne receives an email confirming that Marina is safe in Iran as Raymond is summoned to the crisis room.
Vous êtes invité à descendre en salle de crise.
As trucks arrive at the drop spot, the Bureau still doesn't know if Cyclone is alive or even with them. A doctor from the camp approaches the trucks to identify their man.
Tu regardes les cicatrices?
The doctor confirms he's there and gives a sign, so the mission is a go.
On a Cyclone.
They have Cyclone, and Henri breathes for the first time in 5 weeks.
Malotru returns home to find his daughter, who, after all this, essentially throws shade at him.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais?
Je passe un coup de fil.
T'as vieilli.
I mean, she's a teenager named Prune. What do you expect?
He flashes back to his interrogation where the CIA has agreed to help him. Cassidy has information about Nadia. She's been detained in a prison in Iran.
But we cannot attempt to free her.
His link to Nadim is not of interest in return. Instead, they tell him to go back to work for the Bureau, and on a regular basis, he will recruit for the CIA.
Malotru returns to the Bureau having secured a glimmer of hope for Nadia by effectively betraying his country. While everyone toasts their success with Cyclone, Baum and Malotru lock eyes, finally realizing their common ground. They're both double agents. Marina is certainly going to have many more tests ahead in Iran.
Nadia is going to need a miracle to get her out of this.
And how is Malotru going to balance his allegiance with France with his new commitment to the CIA?
Got all that? Then you're ready for season 2. Lucky for you, it's available to binge right this second.
You better hop to it. Season 3 premieres soon on Sundance Now.
See you then. Thanks for watching.